Information Service. I'm Ulrika Brown.
And I'm Yannick Allen.
And today we will be exploring how regionalization have impacted our political structure.
But before we get into that, let's look at our viewer's question. And it reads, in today's world of globalization, do efforts at Caribbean integration still have any relevance for Caribbean development, or should we all aspire to become part of the global village? And you can respond to us by tweeting at CIS1101 or messaging us at 1888-CIS.
Globalization is the close integration of international markets in order to share goods and services. In globalization, countries are normally divided into two groups, core countries and peripherals. Core countries are the more developed countries such as Europe and the USA. Peripheral countries are the developing countries such as Caribbean member states. Regional integration is the merging of more than one Caribbean territories with the aim of promoting a sense of oneness. This is normally aimed at developing one's country and in that sense develops the entire Caribbean region.
We interviewed 10-time Olympic gold medalist Kellyanne Fraser-Price to get her take on the matter.
So, as a representative of Jamaica, I've been outside of the country and I came to the realization that the Caribbean culture is being socialized into these international cultures. And being in the Caribbean, I realized that we don't appreciate our culture as much until we are being recognized on an international level. For example, the Olympics or Miss Universe. Sometimes it seems like due to an increase in international connectivity or globalization, our Caribbean identity is becoming blurred. And it's almost as if you can't tell the difference between our culture and that of the American culture due to global media. To me, regional integration means entering the global market as a unit instead of doing it alone. Unity promotes prosperity, and that is something I live by. Organizations such as CARICOM, CSME, and the CCJ, whose main interest is the Caribbean people and developing the Caribbean region, aims at protecting against this cultural erosion. Regional integration is very relevant in order for us to embrace our history and to develop the Caribbean region to make us more competitive users of the global market.
At this year's annual CARICOM member meeting, the topic of discussion is whether CARICOM member states should accept the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final appellate court, or should they continue to use the Privy Council? This is what Representative of the Privy Council, Sir Matthew Reid III, had to say.
Hello and good afternoon. The Privy Council has been in existence when it was first established in 1833. This proves that the Council has more experience than the CCJ. As I can say before I was so rudely interrupted, also, foreign direct investors prefer to use the Privy Council as a third-party means for establishing bilateral treaties.
We will now call the Most Honorable Naftali John, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, to present her proposal representing the CARICOM member state.
I disagree with the moot that Caribbean member states should keep the Privy Council as our final appellate court. This is about the betterment of the Caribbean and developing the Caribbean region. Firstly, modern-day globalization presents trade liberalization and trade blocks that really cause us developing nations to remain on the peripherals, while core countries such as Europe and the USA continue to flourish. These same core countries have treaties governed by the Privy Council, protecting them. I agree with joining the CCJ, as this will remove biases with foreign direct investors, providing more job opportunities for Caribbean nationals, thus preventing or lessening brain drain, which will develop our human resources and in turn develop our region's economy. Thank you.
We interviewed a few participants in the Grand Caribbean pageant to get their take on the matter.
Well,
Thank you for that amazing question. Well, regional integration has provided a lot of great opportunities to develop the Caribbean as a region. CARICOM was developed to function as economic cooperation, coordination of foreign policy, and cooperation in areas of human and social development. CARICOM has given rise to the general passport, which makes it much easier to travel regionally as no visa is required. It has also given rise to the removal of tariffs for interregional trading. If the each Caribbean member state benefits, the entire region will benefit as well.
Okay, thank you for that question. Undeniably, globalization has allowed for transfer of technology and other goods and services to be introduced in the Caribbean, which is somewhat beneficial. But globalization prevents various cons, such as erosion of sovereignty of Caribbean states, shifts in lifestyles, and brain drain, since people are migrating for other financial income or better financial income. When the West Indies Federation failed in 1962, an uproar began as people believed regional integration would not be able to flourish. But even after this, the University College of the West Indies became the University of the West Indies, which has integrated Caribbean through education. Efforts of regional integration are aimed at making the Caribbean more competitive users of the global market. Through efforts such as CSME, trade fluency can influence this, thus improving the Caribbean region. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that question. So I believe that globalization has led to the Caribbean region's economical and political marginalization. We in the Caribbean have been overwhelmed with political values derived from the North Atlantic region. International entities view us in the Caribbean as being geopolitically irrelevant. This is one reason why foreign investors prefer to use the Privy Council for the settling of any bumps in the bilateral treaties, because they will be more impartial since they have no connection to the Caribbean and its histories. My country believes being a part of the CCJ has helped me to realize the many benefits that this act of regional integration has bestowed upon us. For one, the court is closer and easier to access. They have also begun to settle commercial disputes, which of course will lead to a new pathway being set to develop the Caribbean.
Globalization began in the pre-Columbian era when Africans traversed the Americas to conduct trading. In the Columbian era, globalization was focused on developing core countries by exploiting peripheral countries. A similar trend is happening in modern-day globalization as the Caribbean region's development is being disregarded. This is why efforts at regional integration are still relevant. One regional integration effort that is new to the Caribbean is the CCJ. The CCJ, being our final appellate court, is a move of sovereignty by removing the Privy Council, as it's deemed Eurocentric for the British to have the final say in laws governing the Caribbean. It's evident that regional integration is important through efforts such as CARICOM to push the Caribbean as a unit into the global market by developing the Caribbean region for the Caribbean people.
We will now take a look at the responses to our viewer's question, but first let's take a look at the viewer's question.
In today's world of globalization, do efforts at Caribbean integration still have any relevance for Caribbean development, or should we all aspire to become part of the global village?
At FOF_Jam responded, we should aspire to be a part of the global village so that consumers can have access to better healthcare and education. Globalization provides access to new markets and increases job opportunities for Caribbean nationals. Hashtag do what's right.
At Juve Lover responded, yes, Caribbean integration is very relevant. Look at the CCJ, for example. Full time will rid the Caribbean of remnants of colonialism and stop using the Privy Council. Not only is it close in proximity, it is compatible with the idea of sovereignty.
At Mr. Cancun 2019 said, efforts at regional integration are still relevant. From a developing state perspective, globalization, trade liberalization, and development of trade blocs are solely aimed at developing core countries, while the political, cultural, and social aspects of the region are deteriorating.
Now we want to thank you for viewing CIS today. Come again next week at 5 p.m.
introduce you on the thingy so we not have to say nothing.